This is the NFL playoffs simplified. If you're a casual sports fan who wants a base knowledge to be able to get by in conversations, here you go. The games being played this weekend are the wild card games. There are games on Saturday, Sunday, and then one game on Monday. The first game on Saturday is Browns versus Texans. The Texans finished last in their division last year, but won their division this year. Worst to first, very impressive. They're led by sensational rookie quarterback CJ Stroud. He's been amazing this year and will likely win Offensive Rookie of the Year. The Browns are being led by Joe Flacco, a veteran quarterback who is 38 years old, who his prime was about a decade ago, but he's had an amazing resurgence at the end of this season, so he has Browns fans very excited. The next game is Chiefs versus Dolphins. This game is on Peacock, unfortunately, so you need a subscription to that to watch it. This is the first time that's happened with an NFL playoff game, and fans are not thrilled about it. But the game itself, it is a revenge match for Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. He was a receiver with the Chiefs for the beginning of his career. That's where he became a star, and then he went to Miami. So it's a revenge game for him. This game will be incredibly difficult for the Dolphins because they're in Miami. They're used to playing in the warmth. It's going to be roughly 0 degrees in Kansas City. The real feel is somewhere in the negatives with wind and everything. It will be freezing cold in Kansas City, which does not play in the Dolphins' favor. Next, we have probably the least interesting game of the playoffs, Steelers versus Bills. The Steelers are generally considered to be the worst team in the playoffs this year, and they just lost their best player in the last game of the regular season, TJ Watt. The Bills are led by Josh Allen. He's a dynamic quarterback. He's a bit wild. He has amazing games, and then he has terrible games. And Josh Allen kind of dictates how the Bills are, so the Bills have amazing games and then have terrible games. But they got lucky. They get to play the Steelers, so as long as they don't have an atrocious game, the Bills should win. Next, we have Cowboys versus Packers. This is a very historic matchup, a lot of legacy in this one. These are two of the oldest franchises in the NFL, so they both go way back with each other. The quarterbacks of the two teams, Dak Prescott of the Cowboys and Jordan Love of the Packers, finished top 2 in the league in passing touchdowns in the regular season. Dak had the most touchdowns and Love had the second most, so that would make you think we could see a lot of passing touchdowns in this game. The Cowboys are favored to win. They've been the better team all year, but the Packers historically have had a lot of success against the Cowboys in the playoffs. They've ended 2 of the Cowboys' last 5 playoff runs. Then on Sunday night, it's the Lions versus the Rams. This is probably the most interesting storyline in all of the playoffs. The Lions have been historically one of the most unlucky franchises in the NFL. They have not had much success, but this year they won their division, which was huge, and now they are facing one of the most impactful players in their team's history, but he's on the Rams. Matthew Stafford was the Lions quarterback for his whole career until a few years ago. The Rams and Lions swapped quarterbacks in a trade. Jared Goff went from the Rams to the Lions. Matthew Stafford went from the Lions to the Rams. Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams, and now Goff is having a lot of success with the Lions, particularly this year, and they're facing off against each other. It's going to be really interesting, particularly to see those two quarterbacks go up against each other. And then Monday night, we have the Eagles versus the Buccaneers. Early in the season, if someone had said this would be a matchup, we would have thought that the Eagles would easily win, but they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. The Eagles are really struggling after getting off to a hot start. The Buccaneers won their division, but it's the worst division in the league, so that doesn't really carry as much weight as some of the other division winners. So the Eagles are the lower seed, but they are still favored because they are considered to be the better team. But again, they've looked really bad recently. The two teams faced off earlier this season, and the Eagles did win that matchup, but again, that was when they were rolling, and they absolutely are not now. The Ravens and 49ers had the best records in their conferences, so they get a bye week. They don't have to play this week, they're off. Hopefully that simplified the NFL playoffs a little bit for you, so now you have a little bit of understanding going into Wildcard Weekend.